The title made you uncomfortable. Good. That discomfort is exactly the signal that you need to listen to this until the very end. Because what you are about to understand will completely reconfigure the way you view love, attraction, and power within a relationship. To break her, not in the way your mind went when you read those words. We are not talking about causing her harm. We are not talking about cruelty. We are not talking about humiliation. We are talking about something much deeper, more uncomfortable, more real. We are talking about breaking her certainty that she has you, about breaking the comfort of knowing you will always be there, about breaking the dynamic where you are the one who needs more and she is the one who decides. That is what breaks a woman emotionally. Not mistreatment, but the uncertainty of being able to lose you, and paradoxically, that is the only condition under which female love reaches its maximum intensity. Today, on Dark Illusion, we are going to speak about exactly that. Straightforward, unfiltered. And before we continue, if this channel is giving you what you cannot find anywhere else, like this video now, and subscribe to Dark Illusion. What is coming next is some of the most powerful content we have ever published. Let's begin. First, let us examine why women do not love the men they possess completely. This is going to hurt, but it is necessary. You have been lied to, brother. You were told that if you loved her unconditionally, if you gave her absolute security, she would reward you with her loyalty and desire. But the exact opposite happened. The moment you handed her complete safety, her interest died. Female love, in its most intense form, is not activated toward secure men. It is activated toward men who represent a real possibility of loss. This is not an opinion. It is a documented pattern in the psychology of attachment and romantic desire. Studied for decades, the human mind is not hardwired to crave what is guaranteed. It is wired to pursue what is elusive. The psychologist Dorothy Tenov identified that the state of intense romantic obsession she called limerence is not activated toward people who give us total security. It is activated toward those whose responses we cannot predict, toward people who might not be there tomorrow, toward people who, in some way, make us feel we have to earn their presence. When you eliminate the gap of uncertainty, you eliminate the exact chemical catalyst that feeds her attraction. Translate this to your reality. Think about the man who is always available, the man who never has his own plans get in the way of her schedule, the man who reorganizes his entire life, his career, and his friendships around her. He is the man who forgives everything without limits because he is terrified of conflict. He is the man who loves unconditionally. From day one, that man does not generate obsession. He generates comfort, and comfort, brother, is where love goes to die slowly, without either of you understanding why. It becomes a slow, heavy, agonizing decay. She begins to view you not as a man of high value, but as a constant utility, a safe background noise in her life. Not because she is a bad person, but because that is how human desire works. What we possess completely without effort, without risk, without the real possibility of loss, loses its value automatically and irreversibly. Next, we must define what it actually means to dare to break her. Be careful, because here is the distinction that changes everything. This is where most men get lost and ruin their lives. They read these words and think they need to play toxic games. They think they need to act cold, treat her with disrespect, or ignore her messages on purpose. But breaking her is not a manipulation strategy. It is not a calculated game to make her suffer. It is not pretending to be indifferent. While you consume yourself with anxiety on the inside, that does not work, and you know it, because she detects the difference between real indifference and a performance. With a precision that defies any logic, she can smell your desperate need for validation. even when you are trying to ignore her. Daring to break her means this: having enough self-worth not to guarantee your presence when she has done nothing to deserve it. Maintaining your boundaries, even if it means losing her. Being able to say no without dying inside. Choosing yourself first without apologizing for it. It is the unshakable weight of a man who respects his own time more than he craves her approval. The researcher John Gottman, after 4 decades of studying couples, identified something that contradicts everything popular culture teaches us about love. Men who maintain their identity, their standards, and their own life within the relationship are significantly more desired in the long term than those who dissolve into the dynamic. They do not lose their focus. They do not compromise their empire just to keep her happy. They are not desired because they are difficult, but because they are someone. They have weight. They have gravity. And being someone, having real presence, having a world that does not depend on her, is exactly what creates in her the fear of losing something valuable. That fear is not cruelty. It is the most powerful engine of female love. It is the silent realization that if she does not step up, you will walk away. Next, let us look at the man she cannot stop thinking about. Look at this closely, because here is the core of everything. Think about the men who occupy the thoughts of women at 2 in the morning. It is not the most handsome man. It is not the richest. It is not the funniest. The man who lives inside a woman's head, the one who appears in her thoughts when she is alone, the one she feels she cannot replace, is the man who, at some point, made her feel like she could lose him. He is the man who did not let her consume him. He held his frame, and he made her respect it. Not because he caused her harm, but because at some point, consciously or unconsciously, he showed her that he had a world of his own, to which her access was not guaranteed, that his standards were real and non-negotiable, that his presence was a privilege and not an obligation. He was a man who, if disrespected, would simply pick up his things and walk away with absolute calmness. If this video is speaking directly to something you recognize in your own experience, this is the moment. Like this video now, and subscribe to the Dark Illusion channel. Every week, we publish the kind of content that actually shifts things. We are building a brotherhood of men who refuse to beg for validation. The psychologist Robert Cialdini documented the principle of scarcity with brutal clarity. What we perceive as scarce, as possibly loss, generates an urgency and a desire in us. That abundance can never produce 5. The objective value of the object does not matter. What matters is the perception that it might not be available. Apply this to yourself. Look in the mirror, brother, and ask yourself the hard question. Are you a scarce man, or are you a man who is always available, who always says yes, who never has a real boundary, whose presence is so guaranteed that it has lost all its perceived value? The honest answer to that question explains everything. Next, we must discuss how to dare to break her without becoming someone who causes harm. Here is the line, and it is important to have it clear. What this video preaches is not artificial coldness. It is not calculated manipulation. It is not causing her harm so she will love you more. That does not work. And besides, that is not the kind of man you want to be. It is weak. It is insecure. What it preaches is this. First, build a world that does not depend on her. Real projects, real friendships, goals you pursue with consistency, even if she doesn't see them. A life worth living, with or without her presence. When you have that, scarcity is not a performance. It is a natural consequence of being someone who has somewhere to go. If you are busy building your empire, you don't have time to stare at your phone waiting for a reply. Second, maintain your standards without negotiating them out of fear. When something does not seem right to you, Say it calmly and without drama. When something crosses a real boundary, withdraw without excessive explanations. Do not yell. Do not get angry. Anger is a sign of weakness. It shows she has power over your emotions. Simply withdraw your presence. Not as a punishment, as a natural consequence of having your own criteria. Third, learn to let go without collapsing. This is the hardest and the most powerful act. The real ability to say, if this does not work on my terms, I am willing to let it go, without dying inside when you say it, is what most breaks her certainty of having you. When she sees that you can walk away from her without your world falling apart, she realizes that she is not the center of your universe. And that is when her chase begins. Not because you are threatening her, but because it is true. And the truth always feels different from a performance. It is raw, it is solid, it is undeniable. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote something that applies here with a precision that 2,000 years have not been able to rust. Discard your misperception, and you discard the fear. The man who can genuinely let go of someone who does not value him does not live with the fear of losing her. He does not walk on eggshells. He does not beg. And paradoxically, that man is the hardest one to lose. The title made you uncomfortable now. You understand it differently. To break her is not to cause her harm. It is to stop guaranteeing her something she hasn't earned. It is having enough self-worth to be the variable in this equation, so that she feels, perhaps for the first time, that your presence depends on something she does, and not just on how much you need her. That breaks her. Not with cruelty, with the only thing nobody can ignore: the real possibility of losing you. And when that possibility is genuine, when it is not a performance but a consequence of who you are, something in her changes irreversibly. Because women do not love the men they possess. They love the men they could lose. Subscribe now to the Dark Illusion channel and activate the notification bell. Next week, we publish something that will continue building this, and we do not repeat ourselves.